Morning, everyone. I'm just giving us a minute to see if we've got any late arrivals. So I think today is very much a new day after having the update from our president yesterday in terms of the lifting of the lockdown, which we've all been holding our breath for, albeit a very slow lifting. But most certainly, I think from what I've seen, the correspondence I've seen on it, and most certainly what he had to say last night, I think we can all take reassurance from the fact that they really are looking at this thing from all angles and really being so responsible in terms of how they're managing and leading us through this crisis. If you haven't seen the document that has been put out on the risk assessment that the government have been working on, there's a copy of it on our website, iNala ActionCOACH, on the COVID page. And I think it gives great insight to how this is being viewed and how the different risk levels are being looked at and how the different industries are being looked at to start allowing a reopening of the economy and balancing the economy, the imperative of getting the economy going with obviously the imperative of keeping people safe. I think that we're going to see a little bit of rallying going on this week as different industries petition a little bit around the opportunities to be open. And I think for me, I just think that the next couple of weeks are going to be absolutely critical to how quickly we can get through this from the point of view of every single South African being super responsible about not spreading the virus. Because my understanding is as soon as we're going to see spikes in a geographic area, spike in an industry, we'll go back to full lockdown again until there's some slowing of that. So we can really help ourselves by making sure that we and everyone within our circle of influence, our staff, I think absolutely imperative that you're communicating to all your staff that they have to apply the safety measures to stop the spread. And that they're not really that complicated if you think it's wear a mask, make sure that you know about looking after it, that you don't wear it, put it on, wear it, and you collect the virus on the mask, make sure it goes into the sun, it's washed. Just do, everyone's got access to Google, just what are the ways in which you can use a mask to prevent the spread. And then, of course, the sanitization, and really the distancing has always been proved to be the best. So just making yourself very aware of that and just adhering to that. 1 meter away isn't the end of the world. And really, for the most part, can be adhered to. And then I think something that I think works, but obviously the president can't come with all these home remedies, is that by all accounts, the virus doesn't stand up to heat. So, good old steam in your face, if you've been out and about, should actually have the effect of killing any virus that might have lodged in your nose. So, it really, for the little bit of effort and discomfort, it has some other benefits anyway, clears the nasal passages. So, let's do that, because if we can just keep the spread under control, we can go back and get our economy going sooner rather than later, which of course is absolutely imperative for everybody's livelihood, peace of mind, wealth and health. So just moving on to what I wanted to share with you today, and just to recap earlier, let's see why my slideshow is not going for me. Okay, so again, I'm assuming that if you've been following our previous webinars and been paying attention to what we're going on, that I'm assuming that you've got in place your leadership. And by that you have a clear idea of what you're wanting to achieve and your plan to actually achieve that. And that you're managing your teams as we've been discussing over the last few weeks when one's in crisis, we're in the emergency room, so we really want to be short-term focused and not long-term focused. So what are you doing with your teams daily and weekly? The communication, we've been speaking a lot about. What is your communication with your teams? What's your communication with prospects, customers, suppliers, and just your general your general community, both your personal community as well as your professional community. It's actually amazing how quiet LinkedIn's been over this period, and we should have seen a lot more community involvement from a business point of view, I think, on LinkedIn. So, you know, assuming that you've got some structure around your communication, and remember, it's all about consistency. And then last week we spoke about the plans, the 3 plans. We said, you know, what is your plan for the next 2 weeks? Well, we're down to 1 week. In fact, it's only, 3 working days. So do you have a plan for the last week of lockdown? Do you have a plan for the 2 weeks after? So depending on how your business is affected, you know, what is your plan in the short term, in the immediate term, and the short term? And then the third plan, very, very important, what is your plan to get back on track? So the challenge for a business owner and for the leadership of a business is the targets don't change, but the plans have to change. So we're very quick, because we've suffered this huge, you know, pandemic and this crisis, and so we want to start changing the targets before we've even looked at changing the plan. So for us, your targets remain the same. What you need to be asking yourself, what do I need to change and do differently in order to actually reach those targets? So very important that you've got your plans in place. And really, at the moment, your current focus is really only in 2 areas for the most part. The one is your numbers, so your financials, your marketing, your test and measures. We're going to talk a little bit around that. And we've spoken a lot about cash being king, your cash flow forecast, absolutely super important. And then the second focus that you should be on right now is, of course, marketing. And of course, I've made some assumptions here that you've got your plans and your goals, your plans and your communications regarding the team in place, because team is very important if you have team. So those are your 2 most important things: your current numbers, your financials, and your marketing. So obviously, marketing in these circumstances has to change, because at the end of the day, the world that we're living in has shifted dramatically in the last couple of months, last couple of weeks, even more so. So when the world changes, how we market and talk to that world about our product and our services also needs to change. So the first thing that I want to touch on with that is that your marketing strategy has got to reflect these changes. So you're wanting a marketing strategy that is more inbound focused. How do you create inbound marketing strategies? And the other thing, it's got to be focused on the customer experience and on building enhanced loyalties and benefits. And the third area is we want to be maximizing the perceived value and focusing on the core business. So, you know, we'll have companies in different categories. So if are there still people buying from you? Now, if they aren't, if you're in the restaurant game and you've had to close your doors and you're not going to be opening anytime soon, this is not the time to throw up your hands. Oh, well, there's absolutely nothing I can do. This will pass. So this is the time for you to be talking to your customers, keeping in contact, seeing how they're doing, seeing what you can do to actually meet some of the needs of your customers. And then we'll have other businesses that have managed to pivot, that have got they're partially open. And here your strategies need to revolve around educating your customers and helping your customers to meet their needs. And then if you're lucky enough to be in a business where there are a lot of opportunities coming towards you, you really want there to be setting yourself up as the experts within those markets. So you really want to be very strategic in terms of your marketing. Where is your business right now? Where is it going to be in the short term? And what are your current marketing strategies? Bearing in mind that your message has to change to reflect the current changes that we've got going on in the world at the moment. So your marketing strategy needs to reflect the current situation. So it needs to be sensitive. This is not the time for hardcore selling. This is not the time for trying to convince people to, close the sale, close the sale. Make sure that your message shows empathy for people, empathy for businesses, empathy for their teams, empathy for the community. Make sure your message is engaging, that you're adding some value, that you're educating people. So you want to re-look at your message bearing these in mind. Really, if we're talking about sales and marketing, it's all about helping and giving, not about selling and asking for the sale. So how do you offer help? How do you give? And that's got to be balanced, because the danger also is that you go give, and there's nothing in return in terms of that. So it's not just because you're helping and you're giving, doesn't mean to say you can't ask or expect to actually sell some of your products or services. So I'm not trying to suggest that, but I think you can see that there's a completely different message when you're helping and giving as opposed to selling and asking. And can you give your customers something for free to help them along? And those that are then in a position to actually invest with you, maybe they can then invest going forward. And obviously you've got to help and look to see where you can add value. It's all about adding value. It's about helping one another. Because I think that's one of the really positive shifts, is a realization that as a humanity, the best way through this, and perhaps the only, and I think it is the only way through this, is that we have to do it together. We have to support each other, and it's either we all win or we all lose. So the whole win-lose mentality, I think, has shifted, which is a great positive that's come out of the corona crisis. So the other thing I wanted to share with you, and for some of you who have engaged with the ActionCOACH community before, you would have heard about what we fondly know as our 5 ways. So for us, marketing is all about math. It's all about how much are you spending and how much are you getting back as a return on your investment. In order to answer that, you need to know, A, what your marketing is costing you, and B, you need to know what a customer is worth to you. What's a customer worth to you immediately? What's a customer worth to you over the long term? Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to be investing in marketing that buys you a customer that you are able to retain for a lifetime, because obviously your ROI then really improves. So the only way to answer the question about whether you're getting an ROI on marketing is if you are testing and measuring. And what we come across all too often is that business owners don't test and measure what they're doing in terms of their marketing. So, and sometimes obviously it's easier than others to do that, but if you are investing in social media, what is your cost of that social media? What do you want to achieve with that? Is it just simply to create some awareness, or are you actually expecting to sign customers on the back end of that? And obviously there's never a one-pronged approach. So we really, really encourage testing and measuring. And whatever strategy you use, that you test and measure it, because not all strategies you use are going to work well. So you want to know what's working and what's not working for your business. So this is how we look at our testing and measuring, and how we look at drawing up comprehensive marketing plans and strategies around driving profitability within a business. And we fondly know it as our 5 ways. Because if you think about it, we all have customers, and most business owners will know on average how many customers they've got in their business. Businesses have turnover. Most business owners know what their turnover is every month. And then, of course, profit or lack thereof. And most business owners are quite familiar with those three statistics, if I can call it that. But when we are trying to improve those, we're trying to get more customers, improve our sales, improve our profitability, we have to concentrate on the drivers, the things, the activities that actually come to give us the outcomes, because customers, revenues, and profits are all outcomes. So where do customers come from? Customers obviously come from the leads that we're able to generate, multiplied by our ability to convert those leads. So obviously, if we can get a prospect to show some interest in our business, that would be a lead, but until they actually spend with us, they do not remain, they're not a customer. So we need to know, of the leads that we're able to generate through our marketing and sales activity, how many actually become customers? And then we need to know how often a customer spends with us. So do we have customers that spend once and we never see them again? Or do we have customers that spend regularly with us? And this is something, you know, I often, when I have the occasion, ask business owners, and I'll ask the same of you, what would your business look like if you were still doing business with every single customer that has ever done business with you? And when I can't see your faces, but when I ask that question in person, as the realization of that dawns on business owners, we tend to go a little bit grey at the thought, a little bit grey at the lost opportunities. I do want to qualify that by saying there are some customers, what we call our D customers, that you don't want to take along with you, and I'm not suggesting that they're those. I think Warren Buffett says you should fire the bottom 10% of your customers every year. So how do you get your customers spending with you more than just being a once-off shopper? And then on average, what does a customer spend with you? So obviously you'll have customers that spend, you know, a lot of money. You'll have some that don't spend as much money. But if you understand on average what a customer is worth to you, it makes your decisions around marketing spend and return on investment much easier. And then, of course, what is your profit margin? So what is your gross profit, and what obviously comes out of your cost of sales? And then after all your expenses have been paid, what is the percentage that's left over as profit? So I just want to take you through this and show you how this impacts on your business, and maybe just, you know, give you some thought starters in terms of areas that you might look at. You've all got different businesses, and you really need to know what these numbers are, and I'll show you now why you really need to know what these numbers, and then you need to ask yourself the question of how do I improve each of those. So let's make up a business, and let's say that this business generates 1,000 leads in a month. And let's say that of those leads that they're able to generate, they convert a quarter, 25%. So this business now has 250 customers on average. And we're just going to talk averages, because as long as we beat the averages, we're on the upside of this. Our customers in this business shop twice a month, and on average, they spend 400 Rand with us. So that means that this business has a turnover of 200,000 Rand. Of that, a quarter is left over after we've paid for our cost of sales and we've paid for our expenses. So we have got a profit margin of 50,000 Rand. So when we're working with business owners, we're saying we know that we have to drive what I often refer to as the blues, the 5 ways, the leads, the conversion rate, the number of transactions, average sale, profit margin. And if we can find strategies just to improve each of those and get it better at improving each of those, what will the effect be on your business? So let's just chunk that down and look at it. And let's just work for now on a 10% improvement. So nothing over the top. If we can get 10% better at the number of leads that you're able to generate in the business. Now, in this example, it would mean that it would be an extra 100 prospects that you've actually got to engage with your business. And when we're working with business owners, we are saying to them that you want to have 10 different lead generating strategies being done 10 different ways. So you need to actually look at your business right now and say, what are my current lead generating strategies? Do I have a social media strategy? And how am I working that social media strategy? Am I posting once in a blue moon? Have I got consistency? What is my message? Is my social media strategy integrated? What are the 10 different ways that I use social media strategy? Do I have strategic alliance strategy? So strategic alliance strategy would be where you work with people that are in a similar industry or the same industry, and they share the same client base as you, but you do not actually compete with them in terms of business. So for example, if you are in the construction industry, who are your strategic alliances with architects, engineers, quantity surveyors? You know, those kind of people would be brilliant strategic alliances. And strategic alliances take time to build up because you're building relationships. But once you have strong strategic alliances, I always say it's like tapping into somebody else's bloodstream, because then your leads start flowing. So what are your lead generating strategies? I wouldn't encourage you at this point to go off and have 5 million different ones right now. What I would encourage you to do is to look, what are your current ones? What's working, what's not? What do you need to improve? So are there any of those that you just need to up the activity on it around the social media, remembering your focus is for inbound? So what do you have, an email marketing strategy, social media strategy? Are you reaching out to people who are strategic alliances, having conversations with people? I think those would be key. But obviously you need to look at your business. I think we have a list of sort of 85 possible lead generating strategies, and they're not all going to be relevant to your business, and they're not all going to be relevant to this particular time. And I think if you could have 3, maybe 4 really good strategies that you do 10 ways and really working well, I think that would be preferable to have sort of just a quick whitewash and have 10 different strategies. And remember, all we're looking for is a 10% improvement. So you might not be generating 1,000 leads, maybe you're only generating 100 leads. Okay, then it's only 10 more, so it's just 10%. And then what is your current conversion rate? And the first thing is, do you know what your conversion rate is? Because most business owners that we meet actually don't even know what their conversion rate is. So, and if you don't know what your conversion rate is, you don't know how much money you need to be putting, or budget or time you need to be putting towards your lead generating strategy. So you could be wasting money there. And so in this business, with that 10% improvement, we now have just over 300 customers. And these customers, the next question we want to be saying is, how do we bring them back? And one of the easiest places for you to start right now, and that's why we'll be encouraging business owners to stay in contact with their customers, retain their customers, have conversations with their customers, look after their customers that they have. Because if you can retain more customers and get your customers shopping more regularly with you, obviously it makes a huge difference to your business. And again, you're going to need to have a system around this. You're going to need to have a system around how do you actually go about retaining customers? How do you go about communicating with your current database? And I'm sure you've all heard, oh, content is king. It's all about content. And absolutely, but it's got to have value, not so much of this noise that we're hearing at the end of the day. You've got to have real value that you can offer to prospects and to your database. So how do you even have a database? If you don't, start right now, draw up a database. Look at your database. You've got to be saying to yourself, this database, who is completely shut down right now? Who might I be able to help? Who might still need something from me in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term? Remember, it's short term, medium term, long term plan. So you want to have strategies for everything short term, medium term, long term. Because what you're going to do for long term is going to be very different for short term, obviously. And then how do you improve, in this example, by 10%, your average price? So what is it? Is it a better, can you offer a different service? Can you add value and have sort of top-up packages? The food industry, obviously McDonald's always did that really well. Would you like medium or small fries? Just by scripting their cashiers with that, sure, it must have been 10, 20 years ago now, they put $6 billion a day into their till. So, you're not selling hamburgers, but normally businesses have fries. What are your fries? And what can you do and how do you position it? What I find is that we think about it, we talk about it, but we don't actually roll it out. We don't have a plan to do it. We're not strategic. We just want to upsell on everything, get some key things that you have great opportunity to add in terms of adding value in terms of your product or your services, and then test and measure. Train your staff as well. That's another thing that often is missed out. Make sure your staff know what the focus is. Make sure they know how to do the upsell, and then test and measure whether that is working or not. So again, short-term, medium-term, long-term strategies here. What you're offering to add value now and what your current average sale might be a little bit different to what it was before the coronavirus. So you've got to look at the reality for yourself. And that then gives you a whopping 46% improvement in turnover. If we can then improve our profit margins, and I must say, the one thing that's going to come out of this with us in lockdown is that business owners are going to be far more focused on their expenses than they've been in the past. I think we've been sometimes a little bit too lackadaisical in terms of our expenses, and we kind of leave those little things because it's not that much and all the rest, and they all add up and make a huge difference. So at the end of the day, if we can do a 10% improvement in terms of profit margins, we then have a massive 61.2% increase in your profitability. So really, it's huge, 46% and 61% increase in your profits. And if you think about increasing at 46%, you're like, oh, I could never do that. How would one possibly do that? But if you look at each of these areas, your leads, you have leads, or you had leads. A lot of people have made the mistake of stop marketing, stop selling, stop looking for business. So this is going to be critical as we start contemplating opening up the economy. Your conversion rate's going to be under pressure. People are concerned about spending money. There's not as much money in the economy. So conversion rate is obviously going to be under pressure. So you've got to either have a strategy to improve your conversion rate, or you're going to need strategies to, well, in fact, you must have a strategy to improve conversion rate, but you also need strategies around increasing the number of leads to your business. So it's very, very critical that you know these numbers, that you focused on these numbers, and you have a game plan that is immediate focus, short-term focus, and how do we get back on track focus. So really, you know, you've got two options where you're sitting right now. The one is do your research, get some clarity, make a plan, and start implementing. You know, there's so much on offer at the moment. If you hop on to our website at iNala.ActionCOACH, we've got a lot of free materials there to help you get through this period as well. So have a look at that. By all means, you know, get on and do it. But do it. You know, people, a lot of listening to information, but then we're not seeing as much action the other side. Your other alternative is to work with me on it. I'm offering a 6-week 5-way program. The idea is that we're going to, every week, we're going to deal with a portion of the 5-way. So we're going to start on getting clarity around your offering, your uniqueness, your marketing messages, etc. And then we're going to look at, you know, how do you do lead generation? How do you improve conversion? How do you improve the average number of transactions? How do we get our customers keep coming back? How do we improve? What are the strategies that we can improve in terms of increasing average rand sale? And then obviously opportunities we'll look at working with increasing profit margins. And the idea is that we'll have a session every week where I'll share my IP and what I know and what I've learned, what's worked with so many business owners, not only my clients, but you know, ActionCOACH clients throughout the world. And then you will be in a position to go out and implement those. And in the first 3 weeks will be very much around your marketing message, your USP, creating leads and creating conversion. And hopefully as the economy then starts opening up, we can start also looking at the other areas. So it'll really be a great program which will serve you in fantastic stead throughout your years in business. So if that's something that's of interest to you, I can get Annie to send you a mailer with the links to the program. They are on our website. And if that's something you'd like to do, then by all means register. Or if you want to ask a few more questions, we are offering, I am offering a 15-minute telecon and even a couple of free coaching calls. So really, I just encourage you to get clarity around where you are, what you want to achieve, and a plan of how you want to do that. And of course, I'd love to work with you because I'd love to be a part of that success, because I think that business owners, if they do what needs doing, they can normally achieve it. The difficulty that you have is that there's so many distractions, there's so much that you have to do. So just in terms of getting into action, because this was never meant to be a marketing, a sales meeting, this is always intended to be a support meeting. So the things that you need to be doing to getting into action is you need to be doing more marketing. If you don't have a marketing plan right now, get on and do it. It's as critical as your cash flow plan. Update your plan, short term, medium term, long term being how are you going to get back on track? How are you going to shift where you're going to market? How are you going to shift your marketing message? Remember what we spoke about. You want to be sensitive to the shift in the market. You have to reallocate your budget to new channels. What channels are you currently in on a social media, website, digital, where so much has to be offline to be compliant with social distancing? You're going to need to understand the digital marketing space. And you need to have a good look at where you're at with it and what you need to be doing. And then test and measure and adapt. Test and measure and adapt. You won't get it right first time. You just want to get better. You just want to improve. And of course, there's always so much that can be done. So I encourage you, out of the back of this webinar, is to choose 5 things that you want to do now and get those done. Make sure you take action. Does anyone like to ask any questions? You can just type it into the questions into the chat box. Okay, so without any questions, then really that's really what I wanted to share with you this Friday. As I say, you know, if you want to be reminded, we share our webinars also on our iNala page, and we encourage you to go and look for anything that might be of value for you on the page. And then those of you who've been following us for a while, you'll know that we are running what we call an eco-brick challenge. So eco-bricks are simply 2-liter bottles that are stuffed with all your non-recyclable plastic, and you keep shoving and shoving and shoving. You cannot believe how much waste, how much plastic these bottles take, until your bottle weighs at least 500 grams. If you don't have a scale, you must be able to stand on it. You don't want to squish it. You don't want to, you know, stand on it or squeeze it and the thing goes squish, squish. It must be solid, because we want to actually use this to build structures that can add value to people's lives. And I mean, this is a great picture of a building that's being put up. We've got a lot of people building the bricks, and our challenge is that every South African builds a brick, and we then want to, we will be supporting projects. There are a number of existing projects, and we might even put together some new projects depending on the number of bricks that we actually have. So we will be keeping you posted as to where your bricks can be taken to. Obviously, if you have your own preferred place that you know of that is using the bricks, by all means take them there. We don't want to be undermining any existing projects that are being put to good use, but it's just such an awesome way of getting rid of all that plastic that is going into our landfills and into our oceans. And it really is a very, very simple thing to do, especially when we're stuck at home. And then lastly, the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Have an awesome week. It's a long weekend, a very short working week next week, depending on where your business is at. You know, get those plans together. Ask yourself, what can I do? What are the things that I can do that'll make the best difference to my business and help us move forward? And remember to stay safe and to take the precautions so that we can stop the spread of this thing and all get back to a slightly more normal rhythm and routine and economy and communities. Thanks very much, everyone. And are you still there?